Welcome to this week's episode of Zero to a Million, brought to you by Unstack. I'm your host, Zach Rigo, and today I'm joined by Hansol Hong, CEO of Robolink, a company that is making approachable robotics kits that teach coding and engineering in a way that's exciting to children and teens. Hansol, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about the business. I think you got some really cool products. I mentioned I have a young son. He's only a year. You're not quite ready for building robots yet, but this looks fun for myself and him once he hits the age appropriate for these toys. Take me through your background and how you got into robotics kits as a business.
Sure. So it kind of started from college. I founded Robolink after a year after I graduated. So I went to UC San Diego and chose my major as a management science, which was supposed to be kind of combination of economics and like industrial engineering. So I was like, okay, that seems like really good, something that I want to do later on. I want to find some kind of tech company later on, and I want to have both sides of the technology and and business, which I kind of think it as similar to economics. I took that, but it turns out that UCSA focused a lot more on economic side, so I couldn't really get into technology side while I was going there. So through that experience, I was thinking, okay, if we can actually make technology more fun and approachable for kids at young age, then hopefully there's not more of me and then get more technology exposure. So that's where we started. My friend and I started an after-school program first here in San Diego. And then we started having 10 students, 20 students, and then with our janky prototype that we made, and basically we're doing after-school program with our product. And then students became like 100 and 1,000, and our product became better and better. So we made our product, and then that product went on Kickstarter, that went to Radio Shack, Amazon, and different places, and then that's how our company got started.
What was the first product?
It's called Rocket Smart.
Okay.
You can make 11 different robots with one product and learn how to do coding.
Very cool. Were you, as a child, playing with like an erector set or Legos or all of the above? Is that just where this started from, essentially?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I'm from Korea, so similar version of the erector set, Lego, and different things, and I definitely enjoyed it. Yes, and
okay, makes sense.
I still love toys.
First thing I think of when I see the Ro kit.
Yes, for sure.
So awesome. I think super interesting how you started with the after school program. Why was that like the business idea from the jump, or was the business idea to create a direct to consumer product?
I think initially when I started, it started all small. It's not like, okay, we're going to be the biggest robotics company or like biggest education company, like nothing like that. Okay, we just wanted to teach kids, STEM and coding, and then we had to start from somewhere. So, okay, let's build an after school program, and then let's make it so that we can afford it ourselves. Back then, that was actually my second startup. My first one went down after a year. So, so as long as I can afford myself and do meaningful work, that's how we got started. Turns out, actually now kind of going back, it was actually really good strategy for us without knowing, because we got to see the customers in person, and then we actually ran our program from Monday through Sunday. So literally we were testing our product every single day with our students. So that's why when we actually released our janky product prototype, and then when that went to the market, it had really good product market fit. So we started as an after-school program. Now our main business is selling our kits. Our kits is something look like this, and then it comes in a package, and then we sell those to schools. And those are majority side of our business, that after-school program that we ran, and then the interactions with the students became the foundation of why our product became better fit for students.
So you mentioned a Kickstarter campaign once you felt like, hey, this product it's becoming a product, right? It's no longer a course. It's the course is a conduit to kind of develop the product. How did that Kickstarter campaign work for you? And I noticed you have another one going on today. It might even still be going on for a new product. Take me through the initial Kickstarter, the most recent one, and what you learned, going through both of those experiences.
Yeah, sure thing. So for it depends. So we ran 4 Kickstarter campaigns so far, and then not all of the Kickstarter approaches same things for us. So first one that we ran, it was like, okay, let's test out to see how our product can be scalable. So that was our goal, and then that was first essentially marketing that we did outside of San Diego. Before then, we were just small local company in San Diego, and then we started running those from Kickstarter, and then that was first time that essentially got attention from outside of San Diego. So that was pretty good. We raised about $50,000 from Kickstarter. And that became the stepping stone. And then because of that, Radio Shack actually saw our product from there on Kickstarter, and then they really liked it. And then we got onboarded to Radio Shack, and then they ended up bringing, we did the pilot program with Radio Shack with 140 locations. So that became, and then we did pretty well, and then we're moving on to the next stage, but Radio Shack went bankrupt. So that was an interesting experience for us. So that's when we started thinking, okay, maybe we are gonna just focus more on B2B side, not B2C side. So that's when we made some changes. But anyway, that was our first Kickstarter experience. Second one was, okay, like we were becoming a little bit more like a company. So we started having some attention, kind of like the Radio Shack or Amazon and different places. Now people were like aware of what we do outside. So, okay, let's do whatever we can do. Let's use this as more of the bigger campaign. So that's when we launched our primary product, Codron, and then we ended up raising about over $200,000 on Kickstarter. And that became really good tool, so that we were seeing that there were market traction from there, and then it became really good strategy for us.
And what other marketing channels are you investing in today, and have you invested to scale the company? Obviously, Kickstarter provides kind of this big windfall of traction, and some potential partnerships or PR around it. Sure. But that's going to subside if you're not doing something to nurture those relationships. What have y'all done to continue marketing the product and scale the company?
Sure. So our cycle becomes like when we launch things on Kickstarter, we kind of do more of the marketing initially while the Kickstarter campaign is going, and then we turn those into more of the sales cycle. And what I mean by that is, other than this one, actually, all of the Kickstarter previous campaigns, we were doing it around events. So for last 2, for example, we held it while CES was going on. And then a lot of people actually don't recommend that because there's so much noise out there, like big companies are releasing news and things like that. So our attention gets a little bit distracted, but it worked for us because last time we got selected as the Best of Innovative. One of our product got Best of Innovation award at CES. And CES is the biggest technology conference in the world. So we got that, and then basically because of that award, we're getting additional exposure from digital trends, and we're getting CNBC, like some different like news channels and things like that. So we were kind of using that, and then as a channel, hey, here's like all these things. By the way, our Kickstarter is going on, so you can get this and pre-order at the best price. So that's our strategy. Same thing for before, we were selected as the one of the like top pitch competition at CES as well. So we are kind of utilizing that too. So when Kickstarter was going on, we did like as much as marketing upfront, and then spreading the words more on the PR side. And then once those like PR has been generated, then we actually get a lot of the reseller and distribution network contacting us, and then we make sure to capture those, and then we convert those into sales opportunities. So we do a lot of marketing upfront, and then we turn those into sales, and then we make sure to support our reseller and distribution channel. So that's been our main strategies.
And then anything from a direct-to-consumer perspective, where you're just trying to get dads like me that want to go back to playing with an erector set type toy with my son, and I'm on there buying it. What has been your strategy to acquire folks like that?
Yeah, I think that's the part that we are probably lacking the most. So towards B2C marketing, so we do more of the regular stuff like Facebook ads and Google ads and retargeting and stuff like that, but that's not and newsletter, but that's not the main area that we do. So it's kind of on the autopilot cruise mode. We set it up, and then if it goes up, then we like it. If it doesn't, then we don't get too disappointed. But that's the part that we don't focus on too much because we have limited resources from our company.
Right. Okay. And then, one thing I found super interesting, I was immediately drawn to when I came to your site, was kind of this aspect of community and online camps. And you obviously started as an education company in a sense, actually doing after school programs, and you continued that in some sense with online camps. Take me through your thought process of kind of building community and trying to bring students, into Robolink to kind of continue with the STEM learning and starting to work through those courses.
Yeah, so really, I think community has been like one of the main things that we're always living with. So like you mentioned, our after school program with the students as well as parents, they were becoming a lot of them became our advocates and then evangelists, and then spreading the words around us. We also run, it stopped after pandemic, but until pandemic started, we were running meetup at our office every Tuesday for the robotics club. And then we have about, now I'm forgetting the count, but around 2,000 members, which makes it fourth largest robotics meetup in the nation. So we've been having those like hobbyist adult parents type of meetup group that comes to our office every Tuesday to talk about robots and trends and things like that. And then school community, we make sure to support our teachers. So community has been always key aspect for both for marketing, both for product testing, and so that's been key for us all the time. Now the next step, what we are betting on is we actually want to create even bigger community. So we are creating the drone competitions so that each schools can have drone competition, and then we provide all the platform to host it and curriculum and everything. So we are hoping that we can actually create, next few years, we create 20 to 40,000, drone teams at schools, so that we can actually get that community help us, and then we'll be helping them to make STEM more interesting.
Right. That's super interesting. I imagine there's a lot of logistics that goes into that. There's obviously some additional products that are going to go into creating that. How receptive are the schools to these types of events? I when I was in school, we didn't get to do drone competitions. I wish we were, but I'm interested to hear kind of the go-to-market strategy, because schools are challenging to sell to historically in a lot of sense, at least the public school systems for sure.
Sure. Yeah. So like the number that I was talking about, 20 to 40,000, those are actual example of the robotics competition teams out there right now. Wow. So yeah, the biggest one has 40,000, second biggest one has 20,000 team. So we are hoping that, okay, let's make the drone version of that robotics competition is what we're going for. So robots, schools are very receptive. Drones, sometimes schools can be a little, a little bit off with the privacy and things flying with kids and things like that. But things has been a lot better. Back when we launched our co-drone in 2016, everyone was like, "Oh, drones." Ew. But I think a lot of people are a little bit more open now. Same thing. Schools has been more receptive. So I think it's going to be better and better.
I love it. And I guess you mentioned that as kind of one of the things you're really excited about. As from a marketing standpoint, you're doing the Kickstarter campaign now. You've talked a little bit about your strategy to create PR and generate buzz around the business. What are you most excited about marketing this business for the next 6 to 12 months? Anything outside of the drone competitions that you're like, hey, we're gonna really go after this and hope it works as a channel or as a strategy to scale?
Got it. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting, but actually what makes me exciting has to align with both the financial and impact side. So we think about the marketing as, okay, how do we actually make the most impact and then actually create the social responsibility for our company too, because we're an educational company. So something that I'm super, super excited was that we're trying to see how we, like, even as a small company, how we can actually give back and then create the CSR, corporate social responsibility, and help some of the underprivileged students while our company is actually making money at the same time. So there's a lot of CSR that's been going out there. But as an example, last summer, we actually got, with the local nonprofit, we got about 100,000 of the grants to help students teaching, like summer camp, and provide our kits. And that was actually a pretty lucrative deal for us as well. And like the profit wise, that was really good. But the mission of that was actually helping a lot of the underprivileged students. So those things. And then because we did that, we even did some PR around with that too, where, okay, Robolink as a company, we're actually doing really good mission. And then we're helping these students, and then these guys are getting the technology, education, and then, probably they'll get into really good jobs later on. That's very appealing story for a lot of media too. So we got covered on Fox News, and we got covered on a couple other local stations here. So those are something that we are actually focusing on now. And then by seeing those like good impact that our company is making, we notice that more of the teachers, more of the schools, more of the school districts, and some of the nonprofit organizations are reacting to those. So we are seeing that as pretty long-term commitment that we're making. But that CSR side is something that I'm very, very passionate about these days.
I love that. I mean, it's a great way to give back to the community, and obviously distribution is key, and there's a large scale distribution there, and you're creating the future robotics club members. So, if you can get folks interested as children, and then they're in the robotics club meetups in the future, then there's a flywheel effect to that. Hansol, thank you so much for joining me today. Where can everyone learn more about Robolink and your story?
So you can just type Robolink or robolink.com, robolink.com. And then we happen to have a Kickstarter project going on right now. It's called BuildyBots. So you can just type BuildyBots on Kickstarter, and then we should be on there as well.
It's a very cool product. You've got a future customer in me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Appreciate you coming on. I think if I had to take the 3 big takeaways from this conversation: 1, leveraging Kickstarter can work, and you can create long-term effects through PR. So, everyone I've talked to has done a Kickstarter at some point. I don't know that all of them have been able to leverage the PR post-launch. 2, community is key. And then 3, I think you found interesting distribution channels in something like partnering with schools and thinking about the robotics clubs in a different way. And I think everyone listening should look to Hansol and Robolink for some inspiration around those 3 channels, because those are 3 things that you can implement today and put a team behind, or spend a little bit of time yourself doing to create some large scale distribution. So thank you for those tips. Those were great.
Yeah, thank you very much.